It is proverbially said that a daughter is her father's little sweetheart. Now that you have your little sweetheart, whom do you cherish more? My sister-in-law, cradling my little niece in her arms, cast a forlorn glance at my elder brother. My elder brother swallowed hard, stepped forward and clasped his arm around Lu Ruiyan's shoulder, smiling obsequiously. Of course, I dote on my dear wife the most. Gazing upon the familiar scene before me, I was seized by a momentary sense of disorientation. Could it be that I have been reborn? Upon hearing my elder brother's response, Lu Ruiyan nodded in satisfaction and smiled coyly. Lu Ruiyan is as shrewish as a female dog, yet my elder brother has persistently indulged her without any semblance of restraint. Shortly after my sister-in-law entered our family, she immediately attempted to intimidate me. One day, my mother requested my elder brother to purchase a durian for me when he returned home. As a result, when Lu Ruiyan beheld that the durian my elder brother had bought was for me, she addressed me in a sarcastic tone. You're already of such an age, yet still rely on your elder brother to buy you a durian. Could it be that you harbor improper feelings for your elder brother? No matter how earnestly I endeavored to explain to her, she remained impervious to my words and forbade my elder brother from uttering a single word to me. My mother and I were well aware that my elder brother had his own family, which was quite natural. Thus we sensibly distanced ourselves from him. Unexpectedly, after Lu Ruiyan gave birth to my niece, she became even more heartless, mistreating her own daughter callously. Let us bestow a name upon our daughter, Lu Ruiyan cooed, leaning against my elder brother's shoulder. This stratagem proved highly effective on my elder brother. He regarded her with doting eyes. Dear wife, since you gave birth to the child, it is fitting that you name her. Then let's name her Zhao Zhaodi. Scarcely had the words left her lips when the countenances of my elder brother and my mother underwent an abrupt transformation. They stared at Lu Ruiyan in astonishment. Our family has never practiced gender discrimination, and cares not one whit whether the child is a boy or a girl. My elder brother wore a troubled expression. This name doesn't seem quite appropriate, does it? Our daughter is our little princess. We should choose a more refined name. My elder brother, fearing to displease Lu Ruiyan, expressed himself in a rather euphemistic manner. However, Lu Ruiyan's visage instantly turned cold. Do you think the name I chose is unappealing? Xinshin, what's your opinion on the name I've selected? Lu Ruiyan directed her gaze towards me, who was standing in the corner, with an ambiguous look in her eyes. In the instant our eyes met, I was assailed by memories of the previous life. I was being suffocated to death by my niece with her socks, gasping for breath and crying out for help. She stood by indifferently, observing me coldly and remarking nonchalantly, "Who told you to meddle so gratuitously in others' affairs?" At the recollection, I involuntarily clenched my fists. Why are you silent? Lu Ruiyan shot me an impatient glare. I exerted myself to don a smiling countenance and addressed Lu Ruiyan. Sister-in-law, the name you've chosen is rather nice. After all, it is the prerogative of you as the parents to decide the name. Hearing this, Lu Ruiyan finally emitted a satisfied chuckle. My mother was on the verge of stepping forward to remonstrate when I grasped her firmly. I gave an imperceptible shake of my head, and my mother promptly regained her composure. When my elder brother perceived that neither my mother nor I reacted to the name Lu Ruiyan had given to my niece, he grew anxious all of a sudden. How could our daughter be named like this? It doesn't sound pleasant at all. Why not? I was named Zhaodi before. Why couldn't we be called that in the past, but she can't now? Lu Ruiyan glared at my elder brother, shouting in a shrill voice. Seeing that Lu Ruiyan was enraged, my elder brother dared not say anything more, and could only acquiesce silently. Indeed, Lu Ruiyan directly named the niece Zhao Zhaodi. The name Lu Ruiyan was the one she changed after she turned 18, and came of age. Her parents were extremely patriarchal, so as soon as she was born, they named her Zhaodi, hoping that she could bring a younger brother to the family. Lu Ruiyan felt a sense of imbalance. Since she herself used to be named Lu Zhaodi and perhaps thinking her own daughter should have her own name, she deliberately named the niece Zhao Zhaodi. Upon hearing this, I thought this name was unfair to the niece. So my mother and I tried to persuade Lu Ruiyan to change the name for the niece. Since she really couldn't refute us and my elder brother didn't support her, he just sat aside, remaining silent. Lu Ruiyan simply gave up and, with a string of curses, told us to name the niece. Thus, I named the niece Qinghuan. On this day, may all her days be filled with pure joy. However, having learned the lessons from the previous life, I resolutely decided not to meddle in such matters anymore in this life. Since in the previous life she yearned so much for Lu Ruiyan's maternal love, she should also like the name Lu Ruiyan gave her. The niece, Zhao Zhaodi, only had breast milk for a week. Then Lu Ruiyan said she was afraid that breastfeeding would make her ugly, and was unwilling to continue. My elder brother, who had always indulged Lu Ruiyan, agreed not to breastfeed and let her feed the baby with formula. Lu Ruyan took the 5,000 yuan monthly allowance for formula milk that my elder brother gave, and spent it on a set of skincare products worth several thousand yuan, and only fed Zhao Zhaodi rice porridge every day. The niece, who weighed 8 pounds and 6 ounces at birth, became thinner and thinner under Lu Ruyan's feeding. In just 2 months, she was so thin and small that she looked like a little monkey. When my mother found out, she was extremely angry and questioned Lu Ruyan why she only fed the niece rice porridge. A child this young couldn't get enough nutrition just from rice porridge. Unexpectedly, Lu Ruyan looked at my mother nonchalantly and said, "My husband's money should definitely be spent on me. Why should I spend it on that little girl? If you feel sorry for her, then you can pay for her formula milk yourselves." Finally, she even pinched the niece's face right in front of us. The niece's chubby little face was pinched with red marks, and she was crying so hard that she could hardly catch her breath. Feeling sorry for the niece, I offered to raise her. When Lu Ruyan heard that I was willing to raise her daughter for her, she was of course overjoyed. She happily handed the niece to me and never cared about her again. But later, seeing that the niece, under my cultivation, grew up to be graceful and was admitted to a top-tier university, Lu Ruyan became jealous again. She secretly told the niece that it was because I forced the niece to stay with me that she lacked maternal love for so many years. And the niece, who had been raised by me, actually believed her words. For more than a decade, Lu Ruyan had never cared for her. In this new life, I will definitely refrain from meddling any longer. In this life, Lu Ruyan is still the same as in the previous one. She took the 5,000 yuan allowance for baby formula that my elder brother gave her, and used it to buy skincare products for herself. When my mother learned of this, she was extremely angry. The always gentle old lady pointed at Lu Ruyan and rebuked loudly. "The child is still so young. How can you feed her rice porridge? You must buy formula milk for her." Lu Ruyan remained nonchalant, stating that if we wanted the child to drink formula milk, my mother should pay for it. She absolutely would not spend my elder brother's money on Zhao Zhaodi. Although I had previously advised my mother not to interfere in Lu Ruyan's family affairs anymore, yet as a grandmother, how could she not feel sorry for her granddaughter? My mother still took out 5,000 yuan from her pension, and asked Lu Ruyan to buy formula milk for Zhao Zhaodi. Unexpectedly, Lu Ruyan was insatiable. She used the 5,000 yuan that my mother gave her to buy cosmetics for herself, and continued to feed Zhao Zhaodi rice porridge. One night, Zhao Zhaodi suddenly had severe diarrhea. When my elder brother discovered it, he hurriedly rushed her to the hospital. It was not until the doctor said that a 2-month-old baby's stomach was delicate, and continuous consumption of rice porridge could lead to indigestion and severe diarrhea that my elder brother realized that Lu Ruyan had been feeding their daughter rice porridge all along. "I clearly gave you 5,000 yuan every month to buy imported formula milk. Why did you only feed our daughter rice porridge?" My elder brother stared at Lu Ruyan in disbelief. Lu Ruyan glared at my elder brother and shouted in a shrill voice, "You're my husband. Your money is for me to spend. Why should I spend it on this little wretch? If I had known she was a daughter, I wouldn't have given birth to her. She was born to steal my husband from me." My elder brother was astonished by Lu Ruyan's words. He raised his palm, seemingly wanting to hit Lu Ruyan. Both Lu Ruyan and my mother were shocked. Only I knew that my elder brother would never hit Lu Ruyan. He loved his wife dearly. In the previous life, after I was killed by Lu Ruyan and Zhao Zhaodi, my elder brother clearly saw the truth of my death from the home surveillance. However, for the sake of Lu Ruyan, he unhesitatingly deleted the surveillance evidence, and even helped them dump my body in the wilderness. This was my own elder brother. If I hadn't experienced the previous life, I really wouldn't have seen how cold-blooded he was. As I expected, that palm still couldn't bear to land on Lu Ruyan's face. My elder brother looked at Lu Ruyan, who was stubbornly holding back tears, and softened his heart. He silently lowered his raised palm and hugged Lu Ruyan in his arms. "Don't cry, my dear. Husband loves you the most. But we still need to buy formula milk for our daughter. Husband will give you 6,000 yuan a month to buy cosmetics in the future, okay?" My elder brother worked as a supervisor in a company and earned more than 10,000 yuan a month. It seemed that the money for Zhao Zhaodi's formula milk would have to be cut in half. "Husband, you're the best to me. You can only love me, not that little slut." Lu Ruyan coquettishly nestled in my elder brother's arms, wriggling her waist. The two completely ignored my mother and me and directly started kissing passionately in the hospital corridor. My mother was so embarrassed that she froze. I couldn't help rolling my eyes. These two were really a perfect match. One was a shrewish wife, and the other was a brainless romantic. In a blink of an eye, Zhao Zhaodi had grown to 13 years old. Perhaps due to insufficient nutrition in infancy, Zhao Zhaodi was as thin as a bean sprout. At 13, her height was only 1.4 meters. In my previous life, with my careful nutritional arrangement for her, at 13, she was already 160 centimeters tall, taller than most girls in the class, and beautiful and confident, not at all as timid and shrinking as she was now. Since my elder brother married Lu Ruyan, my mother and I had moved to another house in the family. We seldom had contact with them. Only when my mother occasionally missed her granddaughter, would she secretly slip some money to Zhao Zhaodi when Lu Ruyan was not at home. Zhao Zhaodi, who had never taken the initiative to seek us out, actually knocked on our door. When I opened the door, I saw a girl carrying an old school bag and dressed very plainly. My elder brother's family, though not wealthy, was at least well off. How could they have raised their daughter like this? It was clearly Lu Ruyan's doing. Looking at the thin and small Zhao Zhaodi with big watery eyes, looking at me pitifully, I was surprised. She never came without a reason. What was she up to? Auntie, can you take me to change my name? I carefully examined Zhao Zhaodi's thin and sallow cheeks. In the previous life, her face was fair, translucent, and a bit chubby, looking cute and pretty. Now, she was so emaciated that she seemed prematurely aged. It seemed that Lu Ruyan had mistreated her a lot in this life. Zhao Zhaodi, is this the maternal love you wanted? Why do you suddenly want to change your name? I asked somewhat knowingly. Zhao Zhaodi's hand gripping the strap of the old school bag tightened suddenly. She bit her lip and hesitated for a long time before stammering. My classmates at school all say that my name means to bring a younger brother to my parents. They all laugh at me, saying that my parents don't love me and that my name is rustic. From Zhao Zhaodi's words, I learned that since primary school, her name had been out of place among her classmates. Every time the teacher called her name, he or she would be very cautious, and the classmates would look at her with strange eyes. Since starting junior high school, the classmates in the class had started discussing her name right in front of her, saying that the name was a sign that her parents didn't love her and only wanted a son. Zhao Zhaodi had also tried to go home and ask Lu Ruyan to change her name, but every time she brought it up, Lu Ruyan would become very agitated and would beat and scold her wildly. Every time at this moment, although my elder brother saw it, he would pretend not to notice. I never expected that Lu Ruyan could be so vicious. She was completely obsessed with her daughter. She had raised her own child so thin and small, and didn't buy her new clothes, making her endure the humiliation brought by her name all the time. My elder brother was also at fault, indulging his wife in mistreating their daughter. However, I had no intention of helping Zhao Zhaodi fight for a name change. After all, people's nature doesn't change. In the previous life, although I was so good to her, she still unhesitatingly ran towards her mother, who ignored her and even cruelly killed me. I feigned difficulty and said, "But this name was given to you by your mother. I can't take you to change it without permission. Moreover, changing a name requires the consent of the guardian. Your mother definitely won't agree." As soon as I finished speaking, a flash of resentment appeared in Zhao Zhaodi's eyes. It's all my mother's fault. She gave me this name, making me be laughed at all these years. Zhao Zhaodi cried with snot and tears, looking tearfully behind me. When I turned around, I found that my mother, Zhao Zhaodi's grandmother, was standing behind me, her eyes brimming with tears. A granddaughter is like a precious piece of flesh in the palm of a grandmother's hand. Although over the years, Zhao Zhaodi had always been indifferent to my mother still couldn't help but care about and feel sorry for her. After all, in this life, she hadn't yet suffered the abuse and humiliation from Lu Ruyan and Zhao Zhaodi. In the previous life, after my death, Lu Ruyan and Zhao Zhaodi, in order to swindle my mother's house, took her to live with them. My mother was heart-broken because of my death, and her hair almost turned completely white overnight. She easily believed Zhao Zhaodi's sweet words. However, after transferring the house to her, Zhao Zhaodi broke my mother's leg, poisoned her to make her mute, and threw her into a nursing home to fend for herself. Thinking of my mother's tragic ending, I couldn't help shivering all over. At this time, my mother had already hugged Zhao Zhaodi, crying heart-brokenly. "Grandma will definitely help you change your name. I'll take you back to talk to your parents later." Hearing this, Zhao Zhaodi's eyes brightened. She wiped away her tears and smiled through her tears. I sighed softly. It was time for my mother to see Zhao Zhaodi's true colors. People only learn their lesson when they hit a brick wall. As I expected, the next day, Lu Ruyan stormed into our house. "Wang Chunmei Su Xian, come out." Lu Ruyan's voice was terrifyingly loud. One might think she was here to collect a debt if they didn't know better. My mother and I were sitting on the sofa watching TV and were startled by her. "What are you two doing, instigating my daughter to change her name? And you old hag. You even came to our house yesterday and said in front of Su Wen that you would change my daughter's name. Are you deliberately trying to make me lose face?" Lu Ruyan grabbed Zhao Zhaodi's arm and pointed at my mother's nose, cursing fiercely. Yesterday, when my mother went to talk to my elder brother and Lu Ruyan, in front of us, Lu Ruyan couldn't vent her anger, and could only agree repeatedly. Now she came to cause trouble for us. My mother opened her mouth, not knowing how to respond. I stood in front of my mother, folding my arms. "We didn't instigate your daughter to change her name. She came to our house herself and begged us to take her to change it." Zhao Zhaodi, who had been hiding behind Lu Ruyan, suddenly changed her expression. She pointed at me and shouted, "You're lying. You clearly said my name was ugly and were afraid that my classmates would laugh at me, so you forced me to change it." Lu Ruyan looked at my mother and me triumphantly and said, "Did you hear that? You're trying to corrupt my Zhaodi. What's wrong with the name Zhaodi? It's others' business if they laugh. Why are you so nosy?" Being insulted by her daughter-in-law like this, my mother's eyes immediately turned red. She stammered, "I didn't instigate her." Lu Ruyan twisted Zhao Zhaodi's arm hard. Zhao Zhaodi let out a cry of pain. After their eyes met, Zhao Zhaodi spat at my mother viciously and cursed. "It's all your fault, you old hag. I said I didn't want to change my name, but you forced me to." My mother was so surprised that she opened her mouth and was speechless for a moment. Zhao Zhaodi was afraid of being known by Lu Ruyan, so she shifted the blame onto my mother. How dare she blatantly bully my mother as if I didn't exist? I sneered and quickly retrieved the video of Zhao Zhaodi crying at my doorstep yesterday from my phone, and shoved it in front of Lu Rian. When Lu Rian heard Zhao Zhaodi's words, "It's all my mother's fault. She gave me this name, making me be laughed at all these years," her face turned black instantly. "You little slut, you hate me, don't you?" Lu Rian gathered all her strength and slapped Zhao Zhaodi's face. After a loud slap, Zhao Zhaodi was dazed. It took her a long time to come to her senses. I didn't, Mom. I didn't. Don't hit me. Ooh. Zhao Zhaodi cried with snot and tears. Suddenly, she turned to look at my mother and me, her eyes full of venom. "You two bitches, it's all your fault. You knew my mother would hit me. Why didn't you help me hide it? You old hag, if you admitted that you instigated me to change my name, I wouldn't have been beaten. I'll kill you." As she spoke, Zhao Zhaodi pounced on my mother, clawing at her. I quickly stepped forward and pushed her to the ground. My mother had been so kind to her over the years. Not only did she shamelessly want my mother to take the blame for her, but she also flew into a rage and tried to hit my mother. This Zhao Zhaodi was really heartless. As expected, with a mother like Lu Rian, whether in the previous life or now, Zhao Zhaodi had precisely inherited her viciousness. I looked coldly at Lu Rian, who was still glaring at me fiercely. "Sister-in-law, didn't you also used to be named Zhaodi before you turned 18? Why can't you put yourself in your child's shoes and think about whether she's suffering? If this name is really so good, why did you change it?" Hearing this, Lu Rian's face turned red instantly. She glared at me angrily. I glanced at Zhao Zhaodi, who was still sitting on the ground. She was looking at Lu Rian in shock. Yes, these words were meant for Zhao Zhaodi. She must be feeling extremely non-show in her heart. However, it could never compare to the harm they brought to my mother and me. When Lu Rian noticed Zhao Zhaodi looking at her, she panicked instantly and viciously cursed at me. "You bitch, what nonsense are you spouting?" Then she turned and glared at Zhao Zhaodi. "What are you still standing there for? Hurry home." After that, she walked unsteadily towards the elevator and left. After closing the door, I realized that my mother was already in tears. How could Zhaodi become like this? Why would she treat me like this? My mother said in a quivering voice, as if talking to herself. In fact, Zhao Zhaodi hadn't changed. She had always been like this, just that she hadn't shown it before. Now that things had come to this, my mother had seen Zhao Zhaodi's true colors. But after all, she was her granddaughter, and there would still be some heartache. My father passed away when I was very young. My mother brought up my elder brother and me with great hardship. She had never favored sons over daughters and treated us siblings equally. After my elder brother, that love-struck fool, got married, he had eyes only for Lu Rian and had always ignored my mother. So now my mother only had me. To prevent my mother from falling into the same situation as in the previous life, I told my mother about how I was killed by Zhao Zhaodi and her mother in the previous life, and how my mother was brutally mistreated by them. Perhaps because she had already witnessed the cruelty of Lu Rian and Zhao Zhaodi. Surprisingly, my mother really believed that I had been reborn. When she heard that I was killed by Zhao Zhaodi and her mother, and then dumped, my mother burst into tears instantly. After hugging me and crying bitterly, she looked up at me firmly and said, "My dear daughter, in this life, Mom will never let you experience the pain of the previous life again. Mom will definitely protect you well." Lu Rian reached out to me again because she was being cyber-bullied. "I'm being cyber-bullied. You work as an operator in a new media company. You must help me." Lu Rian almost despairingly roared in a low voice on the phone. Lu Rian loved to post her daily life online. Just a few days ago, Lu Rian posted a thread about the difference between herself and her daughter, Zhao Zhaodi, wearing the same dress. In the photo, Lu Rian was wearing a purple mermaid-style tight-fitting dress. Her fair skin looked even more translucent against the backdrop of purple, and her plump figure was accentuated by the tight-fitting dress, showing a curvaceous silhouette, while Zhao Zhaodi, as a contrast standing beside her, was only 1.4 meters tall, thin and small. The purple color made her sallow face look even more lackluster, and the ill-fitting loose dress on her made her look cramped and rustic. The caption Lu Rian added was, "The difference between me and my daughter wearing the same dress. Who do you think looks better?" With such an obvious contrast, it was clear that Lu Rian looked better. However, Zhao Zhaodi was still an underdeveloped minor girl, and this mermaid-style dress was completely inappropriate for her age. Netizens were quick to sense Lu Rian's intention. Within 2 days of the post being released, Lu Rian's comment section was flooded. Lu Rian was overjoyed, thinking she could see praises for her figure from netizens. Unexpectedly, what greeted her was a flood of scolding from netizens. Is the author out of their mind? Playing such tricks on their own child? Your child is only 13 or 14 years old. What kind of attention-seeking behavior is this using your child? This child, who is full of such thoughts, isn't even as tall as the dress. It's better that way. You bought this dress specifically for yourself. Who do you think looks better? You're fair and clean, but you've raised your child to be so sallow and emaciated. Are you her stepmother? Netizens scolded Lu Rian mercilessly. Lu Rian was so offended by the scolding that she couldn't help but directly engage in an argument with netizens. My daughter is Bunlaijo not as good, looking as me. What are you all blackening me for? You haters, I look better in this dress than her. It's none of your business. Mind your own business. Originally, it was Lu Rian who asked netizens to judge who looked better in that dress, her or Zhao Zhaodi. Now, with Lu Rian's retort, it triggered the rebellious psychology of netizens. Netizens dug out Lu Rian's previous posts, which were all full of such inappropriate implications. When my daughter grows up, she will definitely take away my husband's love for me. Fortunately, I'm prettier than her. My daughter is too thin like a skeleton. She's not even as good looking as one of my toes when I was a child. There was an even more outrageous post. Lu Rian, with a delicate makeup, took a photo with her daughter, who had a plain face and worn-out clothes. The caption was, "Guess who's the mother and who's the daughter?" Netizens didn't indulge her. They Funfun posted similar pictures below, saying, "Guess who's human and who's a ghost? Guess who's male and who's female?" Some more extreme netizens even searched Lu Rian's information, and found that she had been like this since junior high and high school. Netizens who knew the story scolded her mercilessly, and some even directly threatened to send her razor blades. Now whenever Lu Rian goes out, she will be recognized and called the old bitch Zishi. Those haters are too much. They're the ones with such thoughts. They're just jealous that I'm prettier than them and are maliciously smearing me. Lu Rian shouted sharply. My heart grew cold. Even now, she still hadn't realized her mistake, and was still blindly blaming others. It seemed she was really hopeless. Su Xian, you're an operator in a big company. You must have a way to help me, right? Lu Rian's urgent voice came through the phone. How could I possibly help her? It was all her own doing. I said indifferently. There's nothing I can do about this. You can cancel your account and don't show up online for a while. Now that things have turned out like this, she will definitely have to endure the cold looks of others for a while. The internet has no memory. After a while, everyone will forget about her. But Lu Rian wouldn't give up. She continued. No, then I'll still be scolded during this period. Why should I be scolded? You must think of a way for me today. Isn't your company's public relations very powerful? We're family. You really won't help me. Family? I couldn't help but laugh. Before, she never regarded my mother and me as family. She always saw us as her imaginary enemies. Too lazy to continue the nonsense with her, I quickly hung up the phone. That afternoon, my elder brother, with Zhao Zhaodi, knocked on my door. Su Xian, your sister-in-law is being bullied to the point of wanting to commit suicide. Why aren't you helping her? Is this how you act as a sister? My elder brother glared at me indignantly, his eyes as if he wanted to cut me into pieces. I just found it ridiculous. A selfish person like Lu Rian would never commit suicide. This was moral blackmail, forcing me to help her. Looking at Zhao Zhaodi, who was standing behind my elder brother with a dejected expression, I couldn't help but laugh mockingly. The real victim should be your daughter. But now you're only concerned about the instigator, Lu Rian. Hearing this, my elder brother immediately fell silent and dared not answer. But Zhao Zhaodi suddenly raised her eyes and glared at me, pointing her finger at my nose and gritting her teeth, cursing at me. You're the worst bitch. You've been in the media industry for so long. If you could have thought of a way to help my mother and I wouldn't have been scolded. Now my classmates all laugh at my mother as the old bitch with such thoughts. They say I'll inherit my mother's trait in the future, and everyone ignores me. It's all your fault. I was shocked by Zhao Zhaodi's words that completely lacked a sense of right and wrong. I was speaking up for her, but instead of blaming her mother, the instigator, she came to blame me. Truly, there is always something Kuhun about a Gulen person. From now on, I will never be soft-hearted again. When my elder brother heard Zhao Zhaodi's words, his previous guilt instantly disappeared. He pointed his finger at my nose and threatened loudly. If you don't think of a way to get my wife out of the bullying by tonight, I'll definitely make you pay. After experiencing everything in the previous life, when I heard my elder brother say something that hurt me for the sake of Lu Rian, I no longer felt sad in my heart. There was more of just speechless. What a love-struck fool. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. If you threaten me like this, I don't mind adding fuel to the fire for Lu Rian, I provocatively said, folding my arms. After all, he was my elder brother who had lived with me for more than 20 years. He could tell my determination from my tone. He immediately stopped Zhao Zhaodi, who was about to throw a tantrum at me. Zhaodi, let's go. Don't argue with this bitch. We'll find a way ourselves. That night, Lu Rian's account updated a video. In the video, my elder brother stood in front of the camera and clarified to netizens that Lu Rian's account was actually secretly updated by Zhao Zhaodi. Those controversial posts were all written by my daughter, Zhao Zhaodi, and had nothing to do with my wife. In the future, our couple will educate our child well and prevent her from deliberately seeking attention and creating falsehoods. After watching the video, I couldn't help but laugh. This was sacrificing his own daughter to save Lu Rian. If Zhao Zhaodi from the previous life knew that this was the motherly and fatherly love she had been longing for and lacking, would she be so angry as to die on the spot? Unfortunately, netizens were not easily fooled. Everyone saw through my elder brother Suwen trying to save his wife by slandering his own daughter. They Funfun stood up for Zhao Zhaodi. For a while, my elder brother was also severely scolded. Due to the great social impact, my elder brother was fired by the company. Because of the bullying incident, Lu Rian didn't dare to go out for several months and could only order takeout at home. Zhao Zhaodi's situation was even worse. Lu Rian was unwilling to give her money for the bus, so she could only walk to school. She often inevitably was recognized by others on the way, and was secretly photographed and talked about behind her back. At school, she also had to endure the strange looks from her classmates. And my elder brother became famous in the financial industry in a negative way. No one dared to hire him in their company. My elder brother called me several times, begging me to help him find a job, but I refused. Later, he knelt in front of my mother, begging my mother to ask me to help him find a job. My mother, who had witnessed his jaching towards me for the sake of Lu Rian, firmly refused. Since getting married to Lu Rian, my elder brother had never taken the initiative to care about my mother. Even when my mother took the initiative to call him, he never answered, for fear that Lu Rian would quarrel with him. This biological son was like a non-existent person. He was still delusional about playing the emotional card in front of my mother. In desperation, my elder brother could only find a job in an electronics factory near home, and occasionally take on part-time jobs to maintain Lu Rian's high consumption habits. In the blink of an eye, 5 years passed. Over the years, Zhao Zhaodi called my mother and me many times, wanting us to take her in. After I refused, I blocked her number. Presumably, by Lu Rian's side, she had been mistreated and targeted a lot. My elder brother only protected Lu Rian and Gunbin, didn't care about her life or death. Zhao Zhaodi was an ungrateful person. How could I possibly repeat the same mistakes in this life? In the previous life, she easily believed Lu Rian's words and killed me. She also mistreated my mother like that. In this life, she should also suffer the torment from Lu Rian. The next time I saw my elder brother's family was in the hospital. I took my mother to the hospital for a physical examination, and happened to see my elder brother and Lu Rian standing at the payment window. The moment they saw us, there was a greedy glint in Lu Rian's eyes. The two of them quickly stepped forward and blocked the way of my mother and me. Lu Rian surreptitiously jabbed my elder brother's waist hard with her elbow. My elder brother, with an air of righteousness, spread his hands towards me. Your niece is ill. You should contribute some money for her medical expenses. I was so amused by his brazenness that I laughed. I never expected that after not seeing each other for a few years, the first thing he would do upon meeting me was to ask me for money. Did I really look like such a pushover? However, out of curiosity to see what would unfold, I suppressed my anger and asked, "What's wrong with Zhaodi? What happened?" My elder brother, thinking I was willing to pay for Zhao Zhaodi's medical expenses in advance, immediately had a gleam in his eyes. He secretly glanced at Lu Rian, opened his mouth, and was just about to speak when Lu Rian cut in. That wretched girl has had a continuous high fever for a week. I think she's deliberately trying to gain your brother's attention. Lu Rian shouted in a fit of pique, her shrill voice almost piercing my eardrums. My elder brother cast an impatient glance at Lu Rian and said helplessly, "If you hadn't replaced her fever-reducing medicine with vitamin tablets in the first 2 days when she had a fever, she wouldn't have had a continuous high fever for a week. The college entrance examination is coming up in a few days. What if it delays the child's exam?" Hearing this, Lu Rian jumped up in anger, pointing her finger at my elder brother's nose and cursing. "So now you're blaming me? Who told you to care so much about her those 2 days? I just wanted her to suffer a bit more. It's just the college entrance examination. I didn't do well in my college entrance examination either. Do you not love me anymore?" Lu Rian shrieked and pounced on my elder brother, trying to slap his face, but was firmly restrained by him. Sorry baby. Don't be angry. You're the one I love the most." The two of them started hugging and kissing each other again, as if no one else was around. My mother turned her eyes away, looking as if she was questioning life. Presumably, she was also thinking about how she could have given birth to such a son. Taking advantage of the fact that they were passionately kissing, I immediately pulled my mother and ran out of the hospital. They had caused the child to be in such a state, and still wanted me to pay their medical expenses. They were daydreaming. I came across Zhao Zhaodi on a local video platform. In the video, Zhao Zhaodi was lying in the arms of a greasy middle-aged man, smiling coquettishly. The caption read, "You're the only one who treats me well in this world." My expression instantly turned into that of the subway grandpa looking at phone. How starved for love was Zhao Zhaodi? Driven by curiosity, I clicked into her profile. Her profile was filled with videos of her hugging older men. There was also a video showing her admission notice to a private junior college. In the previous life, I attached great importance to her studies. Since childhood, her grades had been among the top in the class. On the eve of the college entrance examination, I even hired a private tutor for her at 500 yuan per class, and bought the most expensive and best study materials. With my help, she was admitted to the top university, and enjoyed the flattery of relatives and friends. In this life, she had only been admitted to a private junior college. This was definitely due to Lu Rian's doing. Seeing that Zhao Zhaodi was having such a hard time in this life, I felt a sense of satisfaction. In the previous life, I loved her as if she were my own daughter, and my mother was also extremely kind to her, yet she treated us like that. This was all his retribution. I watched the first few videos on her profile, and then exited to watch videos of other bloggers. 2 months passed, and I had almost forgotten about this matter when I suddenly came across a social news. A female college student was having an affair with a married man, and his spouse came to beat up the mistress. In the photo, a thin girl in a white dress and a short and plump middle-aged man were being pulled by their hair and beaten by several women. Although the photo was blurred, I still recognized at a glance that it was Zhao Zhaodi. A few days later, I received a call from the police. Zhao Zhaodi had killed Lu Ruyan. At the police station, the police briefly explained the situation to me. Since her birth, Zhao Zhaodi had been a target of mistreatment by Lu Ruyan. She had suffered a lot of cold shoulders and abuse from her since childhood. And her father, Su Wen, had always turned a blind eye. Starved for love since childhood, Zhao Zhaodi was bewitched by the sweet words of a married man, Zhang Chong, and gradually fell in love with him. A few days ago, when Zhang Chong's wife discovered his affair, she followed him to find Zhao Zhaodi and, together with her sisters, beat Zhao Zhaodi up. After being discovered by his wife, Zhang Chong, who had been unfaithful, broke up with Zhao Zhaodi and blocked and deleted her. When Lu Ruyan learned of this, instead of comforting Zhao Zhaodi, she mocked Zhao Zhaodi as a slut. Unable to bear the breakup with Zhang Chong, Zhao Zhaodi slit her wrists and attempted suicide. She was discovered by netizens in time and rushed to the hospital for rescue. Just as Zhao Zhaodi woke up, she was taunted by Lu Ruyan as a mistress who worked in a brothel. Zhao Zhaodi picked up the fruit knife next to the hospital bed and stabbed it straight into Lu Ruyan's abdomen. As she stabbed, she shouted, "I'm not called Zhao Zhaodi. My name is Zhao Qinghuan. It's all your fault. You ruined my life." Even when the medical staff rushed in, they couldn't pull her away. She stabbed a total of 12 times before stopping. Lu Ruyan died due to excessive blood loss and ineffective rescue. And Su Wen, unable to bear the shock of his wife being killed by his daughter, went crazy on the spot. The police brought me to the interrogation room and then left. Sensing my presence, Zhao Zhaodi slowly raised her head. Her originally thin face now looked like a skeleton, with only a layer of loose and sagging skin hanging on it. Her eyes were also extremely sunken. The moment she saw me, a glimmer of hope flashed in her eyes. "You came to see me. I was wrong. I'm really wrong. Can you forgive me?" It seemed that she had also been reborn. I looked at her in silence, not saying a word. Then Zhao Zhaodi started talking on her own. "I was really wrong. In the previous life, I had everything, but I just didn't experience maternal love. That's why I was so stupid and did something wrong. That bitch Lu Ruyan, she doesn't deserve to be my mother at all. She only knew how to compare with me and wouldn't let me eat my fill. In my senior year of high school, I was malnourished and fainted several times, but she didn't care at all. She also made me have a continuous high fever for a week, which caused me to fail the college entrance examination, and only be able to go to a lousy junior college. And I was so stupid to be with that scumbag Zhang Chong. He ruined my life." Towards the end, Zhao Zhaodi was choking and screaming hysterically, as if trying to vent all her grievances of these years. I Jingda watched her performance, and my heart was as calm as still water, without a single ripple. This was all she deserved. With just one sentence about not experiencing maternal love, all my efforts in the previous life had gone to waste. In the previous life, she clearly had so much but was still not satisfied. She was just so greedy. I looked at her coldly and said indifferently, "I won't forgive you. In the previous life, I treated you with all my heart, but just because of one word from Lu Ruyan, you heartlessly killed me. The harm you caused me can never be compensated. Moreover, someone as cold-blooded and heartless as you probably won't truly repent. I've been reborn. Wait, Aunt. Even if you don't forgive me, you have to hire a lawyer for me to help me get a reduced sentence. After all, I'm your own niece. Blood is thicker than water." Zhao Zhaodi looked at me with tear-filled eyes pleading. In fact, she hadn't repented at all, and wasn't sincerely apologizing to me. She just wanted me to hire a lawyer for her to reduce her sentence. People like you will never reflect on your mistakes. You only know how to complain that you don't have enough. I looked at her with the eyes of a stranger and said indifferently. Hearing this, Zhao Zhaodi glared at me with venom in her eyes. "When I get out, I'll stab you first." Zhao Zhaodi stood up, trying to hit me, but was restricted by the handcuffs and could only curse and spit in my direction. I glanced at her faintly and then resolutely walked out of the interrogation room. The curses from Zhao Zhaodi behind me gradually faded away. A few months later, I heard that the crazy Su Wen accidentally fell into the river and drowned. In prison, Zhao Zhaodi couldn't accept the changes that had happened to her, and also went crazy. As for me, I resigned and took my mother to the city we had always wanted to visit to relax. The end.